Welcome back. My name is Nick, and I have Kyle here with me. Pecos with a 0 on Instagram. Go follow him. He's a super talented artist. He also helps design the shirts, and he puts together these deep dives. He does all the research and stuff like that. So thank him on his Instagram. Go over there and just say, thank you, Mr. Pecos. And we do a lot of deep dives here, from Land of the Dead to Harpies to Galavespians to Mrs. Colto to Lyra to John Perry. Oh, Mulefa, you name it, we cover it here. And we also reviewed every episode of the show. And we also answer comments and stuff. There's 30 plus videos on our channel of just content of his Dark Materials. Go check it out. Comment down below. We will probably answer questions again at some point in the future. But right now, we're going to talk about Mary Malone, a.k.a. The Serpent, a.k.a. I don't know the other title.
Well, I'll give you some other titles, Nick, because she's
nun.
Got her doctorate. What's
that? She was also a nun, right?
Yeah, she was a nun.
The nun? Okay.
All right, we're gonna jump in. We're gonna knock this off right now. Okay, so she is an astrophysicist and a neuropsychologist who was investigating how dark matter affects human consciousness. Right.
Yes.
So she was told by an angel she must play the role of the serpent for the second Adam and Eve.
Yes.
Right? So
pretty heavy.
Appearance, a little bit different in the books, but Mary has short black hair and red cheeks. Lyra guessed that she was in her late 30s, as she seemed a little older than Mrs. Coulter. She tended to dress simply and practically, true to the wardrobe in the series. She was stocky in build, but physically fit and capable of surviving outdoors, having taken camping trips taken in Scotland and the Alps. Mary had experience in both rock climbing and had heard about techniques that tree climbers used, which came in handy in the Malefa world.
Yeah.
Right? So a little bit about her before the.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Which is really cool because a lot of that is actually in book 3. She does a lot of explaining to Will and Lyra, like her backstory and how, this. And then we also get a lot of that in the book 2. She reminisces how she climbed the redwoods trees and stuff like that. Like, this is very similar because she explored a lot and hiked a lot. So there's a lot of this is actually in the book. So if we miss something here and you want more, highly recommend reading the books. All right, keep going.
Yep. So, a little bit of her biography before the book. So when Mary was 12, she went to a friend's birthday and met a boy called Tim, and they danced together. And later he gently placed a piece of marzipan in her mouth. And the taste would always remind her of this moment when she fell in love for the first time.
Yep.
And so we kind of get that recurring back, right? And Malone became a nun during her university career. So she believed that she could study astrophysics and neuropsychology to the glory of God. And since her covenant wasn't strict, she was allowed to complete her doctorate, right? So she was asked to present her paper at a conference in Lisbon in the summer of 1990.
Yep.
So the next day, she went out for dinner with like fellow academics from the conference, and she met Alfredo Montale. Although in the show it was a gal, but that night,
a little switcheroo.
That night, she ate a piece of marzipan, which brought back the memories of falling in love,
Ratatouille style.
To question her faith.
Yeah.
So Malone and Montale went for a walk on the beach together, and she threw her crucifix into the sea. Malone chose to leave her life as a nun, much to the disappointment of, her mother superior, the priests, and her parents. Yeah. So, disappointing everyone all around. That's unfortunate. But know what?
I think even in the book, too, she would even talk about, like, even the weight of God, too, the idea of when she left. She had, like, that weight of, like, even, like, it was really cool in the book.
Yeah.
Sorry, did I totally interrupt a good punchline?
No,
okay.
Not at all. I had no punchline ready, so that was perfect filler, buddy. Or should I say fluff? Her relationship with Montale didn't last. After leaving the convent, Malone moved to Oxford, where at some point she started another relationship with a dude who enjoyed like rock climbing or whatever. But that's where she kind of got her rock climbing skills. They lived together for 4 years, so but eventually, whoa crap. Technical difficulty. Okay, there we go. But eventually they separated. So Mary went on to various like other expeditions, like after leaving, even going to California once. Fun. Maybe that's where the Redwood connection comes in. After the Authority War. So now we're jumping here to after the book. So before Mary returned to her own world, Atal, the Mulefa gal, that was like her best bud, gave her a bag of wheel tree seeds and a phial of the wheel tree oil.
Yeah.
And so she gave 3 of these seeds to a scientist at the Botanic Gardens. They grew well, but she always refused to say where they came from. So they were able to grow in our world. I always wondered if they succumb to the same plight that people do if they stay in another world for too long.
Oh, it's a 10-year rule.
I wonder if it applies to like trees.
Yeah. I mean, it is life.
Flora.
I mean, and they do produce dust too. So I don't think those trees will ever be able to go to their maximum height like they would in the Mulefa world in 10 years.
That's a good, you know what? That's a good, yeah, I like that.
You know what that kind of reminds me of? I hate to bring up Lord of the Rings again. It's like when Sam planted the seed of the trees from Lothlorien. Because remember, he as a gift from Galadriel, he got the seeds. In the book, he got the seeds of the golden tree. And then in the book, the burning of the Shire is destroyed when they go back home. But he's able to plant the tree, and then they kind of rebuild the Shire around it.
That's right.
Anyways, keep going. Sorry about that.
That's the second pick for tonight for Lord of the Rings reference. All right, cool. And then... Mary agreed to help Will get his mother treatment for her illness and offered him a place to stay so he wouldn't be put into state care when he got back to our world. And so they kind of they became pretty good friends, and Mary kind of looked after Will for a bit. Yeah. But yeah, that's about it with Mary. You know, she also learned how to see her demon. But Nick, why don't you? Well,
you know what's interesting too? They did a good job in the show. Obviously, it's different in the book. She only gets a glance, but it's cool because it's like that's probably where it goes, where it's like full on. She can communicate and talk with her demon. And I'm also curious if she like starts like this, not like a cult, but like a retreat in the mountains where you can see your demon as an animal or something, where she like begins to teach other people so they can start seeing their demon in the other in Will's world. How cool would that be if it's like a selected group of people?
Yeah, with this technique you can see your spirit animal. Mind a cockroach, what does that mean?
Yeah, I know. Ooh, no, that's just we just haven't cleaned in a while. But anyways, no, that he's Ernie. He's always there. But on that note, just so you know, a lot of what we covered is actually in book 3 and also parts of book 2 too. But Mary Malone's one of the few characters where we get its extensive backstory on her, because we use that backstory to encourage Will and Lyra's story. And, like when they fall in love and stuff like that, a lot of that is used as motivation for Will and Lyra. And it's really cool we get the build up with Mary Malone's character for that payoff.
We do see a little bit of it in the series, but it's all instigated from that time when they're at by the fire, and she's telling them about her experience, and you kind of see them look at each other, and it's like so yeah. But
we see a little bit of it. It's so much more intense in the book, I feel like. I feel like it happens, and it feels like it goes on forever. It's like a couple chapters, I feel like. But let us, if we missed anything, let us know down below. If you like our content, give us a thumbs up or a like. And go to Instagram, Pecos with the 0. Thank Kyle for doing all the research and the back end stuff to get this video to you. He does such a good job with this and laying it out. So go visit him on Instagram. Go let him know. Thank him for all the hard work he does here on this channel. We're also going to be covering Dune. Kyle's really deep in the Dune books. Y'all. So we're going to be doing a lot of deep dives from Dune. We're going to be doing our own little clever deep dives, hopefully clever, from Severance, breaking down characters and stuff. There's no book stuff, so it's just going to be from past season and our guesses and stuff like that too. And I'm thinking about doing that with other shows too, which will be a lot of fun. So subscribe to get all the updates. Watch all the His Dark Material stuff. Go to Instagram, follow Kyle, Pecos with the 0 on Instagram, and we'll see. Oh, go to AsArt.space for the shirts too. If you're still here, please go grab a shirt, and we'll see you on the next AsArt. Woo!
Air saxophone.
Dude.